What makes, I guess, me different is, I really do focus on creating value in the world above and beyond for all stakeholders, not just the shareholders of a company. The stakeholders include our clients, my employees, the families of the employees, my investors, the community at large. And we really focus on that with the goal, of course, of driving a bottom line and a profit.
Welcome to the No Excuse Pro podcast, your weekly dose of motivation and actionable advice. If you're a realtor, financial planner, business owner, or anyone who's tired of making excuses and ready to take your success to the next level, you've come to the right place. Join your host, Kevin Brierton, each week as he chats with industry leaders who are going beyond the excuses to achieve their goals. So no excuses accepted. Let's get started.
Appreciate you jumping on, Doug. Known you for a while, and I know you do a great job. And I just want to bring you on. And the reason why I've started these interviews is because I believe that people have aspirations and dreams and goals, and they can have a huge impact in the world, but they have all these excuses that stop them from doing it. And I want to talk through those excuses and how you broke through them over the years to make a big impact, and you're still making an impact. So tell me a little bit about what you do, and also like what makes you different in breaking through success and having success over and over and over again.
Sure. Well, thanks, Kevin. I appreciate that. This is I've started multiple software companies now, and this venture really is the distillation of my past career. Really with a burning desire to increase my purpose in this world, leave this world a better place than I found it. And as such, my team builds we have a SaaS platform that is attempting to, move the needle in a really difficult American problem, and that is housing. Affordable housing, homelessness, and managing housing on Indian reservations. That's effectively what our software does. It's a very difficult domain. It does not lend itself to software, but the purpose component and the satisfaction component is huge. What makes, I guess, me different is, I really do focus on creating value in the world above and beyond for all stakeholders, not just the shareholders of a company. The stakeholders include our clients, my employees, the families of the employees, my investors, the community at large. And we really focus on that with the goal, of course, of driving a bottom line and a profit. And I think that is truly unique in this world today. And we're on the verge of pulling that off. Got a great team, and we hire for that, we manage for that, we try to incent for that. And that's, I think truly unique, at least from the other CEOs and founders that I've found.
Now you mentioned purpose and, making a difference. How does somebody get to that point, right? Because a lot of times we're just trying to make a dollar or just pay the bills. How do you figure that out?
Well, to be honest with you, for me, it was by accident. This just started helping a childhood friend. My past career was in telecom, and not that, telecom didn't have a purpose, and there's some great technology behind it. But at the end of the day, you're making money for a corporation. This started out helping a friend who had a decaying software company that managed housing on Indian reservations. And to get my arms around the requirements of that software, I went out and visited 100 Indian reservations, over 100 Indian reservations, from Alaska to the southern border. It changed my life. And it's a really difficult technical domain, so it scratched the engineering itch. But I also saw how tribes were really limited for a variety of social and just technical sophistication reasons to successfully manage their limited housing inventory. And, me and my team just thought, well, shoot, if we can make this easier for them, if we can simplify this for them, they'll be much better at getting the right people and the right units at the right price. And we've done that. And it's made a big impact on Native America. And so that kind of lit my purpose fire and got me going on this. But truly, Kevin, for me, it wasn't strategic. I'd sold my past software company and I was kind of thinking, well, what do I do next? And this showed up from
Sometimes that's the best thing. I mean, if you sit here and search and sometimes you just got to let it live your life, do your thing. And I think the big thing here is taking action, right? Like you took action, then you saw a need, then you went to say, okay, can I help with that need? And then you found, oh man, this is really like my passion here. And I think a lot of times we have to follow, we can't just be so in a rut, or let's say just, I got to make money to do a job. I can't leave and do something different because it's a risk, or what's going to happen with it. And that, we have to allow ourselves to take those risks and have those failures. And we hear about failing fast and, but I truly believe that there's some magic in the failure of it as well. So talk a little bit about a time when maybe you perceived something as a failure, but really it was maybe a blessing in disguise.
Oh gosh, I don't know where to start there. I guess the big core failure in this company is, trying to simplify things that shouldn't have been simplified. Trying to automate things that really can't be automated in this world of managing poor people. Now, that was a huge technical mistake. It cost us, millions of dollars and a lot of engineering cycles. But from that, it really helped us distill the problem, and at the end of the day, create a much better, product. And what it really taught us is that you gotta deal with the world as you find it, not as how you want it to be. And complaining isn't a strategy. You've got to look at hard reality and say, we made a big mistake. We built this product that we thought, we took the appropriate shortcuts and made the right decision to architect it. And we decided, man, everything down to the whole technical stack has to be redone.
Wow.
And we swallowed that pill, but now we're in a position where we're the only game in town. We're the only people with a modern application in this space. And if we would have kept on the path that really all the other software vendors were, we wouldn't be here right now. But it was that really big failure that we had to admit to ourselves, we were wrong. We were just flat out wrong. We can't get from point A to point B with this stack. So we tore it apart and started over. And that's just one of many. I could get into personnel issues. I could get into financing issues. I could get into bootstrapping issues.
Me too. Well, you mentioned we have to, work with the world as we find it, not how we want it. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, it's everything about being a founder. The chaos theory is real. Entropy is real. There is so much unpredictable things in the future that you've got to deal with reality. And if you ignore reality, it will catch up with you. And so to deal with that, we try to make the best decisions possible and create an environment for that, so that we have guardrails around those decisions, and so that we're making good ultimate choices. But at the end of the day, those choices have to be firmly rooted in foundational principles and values. And those values have to be written down, communicated to people, kind of like the commander's intent in military terms. Everybody has to know where we're going, and then they then make accurate decisions as well, knowing what that intent is, so that I don't have to be involved in all the decisions. My leaders have, a lot of autonomy to succeed and fail. But it really is, with the commander's intent, dealing with reality as the world sees it, you can stick handle through all changes that occur throughout the course of business. And to be honest with you, when you take a body blow like COVID, I don't know if we would have made it if it was just me at the helm and we didn't have those values articulated and spoken, to the team, because a lot of people were making a lot of big decisions. And I mean, we're here, we're in a better place than we've ever been, but a lot of companies aren't. I mean, COVID changed everything, but our principles and values and our clients who we were serving, that didn't change. So that's kind of, we can complain about COVID, and I can complain about deaths in our family, and I can complain about, engineers who failed working remotely, but that's reality. You deal with it and you move on. Complaining gets you nowhere. It doesn't even make you feeling good after a while.
Well, you got to surround yourself with good people, and that's why, I wanted to have you on here and, just talk a little bit. And there's definitely, this has been some good information already. I know we don't have too much time together this morning, but I really value it. And I want to ask you, so right now your software serves the Native American lands around the United States, and it's around housing and optimizing, from what I understand, the financial piece of it.
Yep.
So tell me just a little bit of that, which you've already gone over, and then what do you see as the next growth factor for the business? What are you trying to get into? What's your goal over the next year or two?
Yeah. So just from a software perspective, it's basically the CRM, or it's the operating system for affordable housing. And affordable housing is super messy because it's not like an apartment building. You've got all these rules and regulations layered on about how to subsidize people's housing based on, their income, their assets, their family composition. Everybody has a different rent. Everybody has different terms associated with those leases. So it's not blocking and tackling property management. It's super complex. So we've built this highly configurable platform that really can manage anything with people and properties. So as we take it forward, there's a massive problem in homelessness, and they have no clarity to the problem. So they don't know if this person's been homeless for 5 days or 5 years. They don't know if they have a family. They don't know if they have skills. They don't know if they're, have a record. They don't know if they have health issues, et cetera. Well, our goal is to take what we've done really for Native America, inject that into the homeless problem, and bring clarity to that so that they can stop the rapid growth of homelessness, and then provide the services to those people so that they can break out of that cycle of homelessness. Right now, there's really no incentive that's working to get people out of homelessness and provide success for the agencies, because nobody knows what's going on. And they're just throwing money at it. And to be honest with you, it's farming homelessness, because all the incentives are to make homelessness more comfortable and create wealth for the organizations, because they don't know what's going on. It's not intentional. These aren't bad people.
So they're just throwing money at it?
Yeah, because they think it's a money problem. They think it's a resource problem. And I'm not arguing that it isn't. What I'm saying is you don't know. You don't know if you have lack of, just physical shelter or lack of resources, because you don't know why these people are homeless. Yeah. So once you carve that out, once you take the severely mentally ill and handle them, once you deal with this, get the bad actors out of the system that use homelessness as a source of economic gain, strip that out into your true homeless population, then create facilities for them so that they can heal and get better and then come out. Homelessness shouldn't be a lifetime thing, but they don't have the tools to deal with that. They're trying to do it on spreadsheets and QuickBooks, and it just doesn't work. The problem's too complex for that. Well, we think with the work we've done in Native America, and now the work that we're doing in public housing, America at large, we can make a huge difference in a metropolitan area once they agree with that premise. Right now, they're still at the premise of we just need more money, we just need more doors. that's part of the solution. But I think the, first principle solution is know what you're dealing with. And that's where we really want to take this. And then we could leverage our platform into rehab centers, nursing homes, any elder care facility that again provides non-traditional apartment-based rent housing, et cetera, for safe shelter.
That's awesome, man. Well, I appreciate that's a great service you're providing. And I think the challenge, a lot of times with government agencies is they have a budget and it's like, well, I'm going to spend every last dollar of that budget. Well, when the business is trying to leave a profit. So it's almost like two conflicting problems.
It
if
is.
you can expose the issue is not just spending the money, but you really want to help people you're connecting the dots between, exposing the problems. Maybe some people don't want that problem to be exposed because then they'll but who knows, so you're doing a great job and I think it's an awesome service. I want to you've had a formula, I believe, in a pattern of success over your life. Take a few minutes and talk about, do you think there's a pattern or formula to becoming successful and having no excuses around success?
There's probably 1,000 formulas. And I think, really, a core to it is just working on yourself, having a growth mindset, being a sponge for information. Now, with that, as you said to start this call, you've got to take action. You've got to get in the game. You've got to play the game before you're ready to play so that you learn. And through continual learning, short iteration loops so you can readjust, and really, just handling failure as it should be, as a learning lesson, you're going to be successful. You need to put a lot of thought into where you're going, and then you can make the proper decisions. But if you don't know what you want, you're gonna spin in stuff that does not provide satisfaction. Now it may appear on the surface that I've had all this success, but man, 10 years ago, I'm a different guy. And this is after selling a software company, after going through a divorce. I didn't feel like much of a success, but that background allowed me to push through and now start another company that, looks like it has some nice success in its future. But I don't know if that's an algorithm or a formula. It's more, I guess, a sense of core guiding principles that I keep refining and building and trying to, find my weak spots and surrounding myself with great mentors that, have been there and can help guide me.
You mentioned that, kind of a test case fail scenario. You mentioned something about if you can figure out how to, do it before doing it. How would you recommend somebody, let's say early on in their career, kind of being able to do that? Does that look like starting their own side business? Does that look like working for somebody and learning through their mentorship, or maybe even donating their time to something, working for free? Because, a lot of times it's not always just about money too, it's learning.
Yep.
How do you recommend somebody to be in that space? You mentioned that, but I'm just kind of thinking about the application of it.
Yeah, all the above, actually. And again, it's so individual. For me, I come from a really humble background, and I was just in survival mode, and I knew to make a living. So I went to work for the largest corporation in the world. I went to work for AT&T in Bell Laboratories, and just to learn how to work and to create a salary. And in that process, I wouldn't say I started a side gig, but I used AT&T to effectively get my MBA. So I saw all the areas of a large company. So I basically just sat back and said, okay, the environment I'm in, do I want this to be the rest of my life? No. okay, as such, what do I want it to be? I don't know. So just expose myself to as much of the world as I can. And then along the way, again, the world changes. In this instance, the Bell system broke up. Nobody wanted Bell Labs. It was a terrible place to work. But I had been exposed to all of these large pieces of software that were too small for AT&T, but they're huge for a small business. So I just said, well, let's go build some of these and see if we can make it work. And that's how that happened. So that was my career path there. But for somebody who looks up and says, hey, I don't want to do this the rest of my life, I would just say, look around, keep your cash flow, assuming you need it. Do a great job there while you're, doing kind of a side gig, even if it's a mental side gig. And talk to people that have succeeded and failed in that space. See if you like it, and then eventually, go. Put skin in the game and go. So yeah, that's
I agree, man. You gotta get after it and take action and then adjust course. It's otherwise you never get anywhere. You gotta go. And one of the things I found is burning the boat. So once you do make that decision, don't go back to what was safe, because going backwards doesn't necessarily help you. You might think it does, or, I should have stayed at that comfortable, good job. And, but there's a reason why you left, and there's a reason why you're growing something. And I put the picture of burning the boats on my phone, when I was going through some stuff, and I had to remind myself literally for 6 months going through some challenging times. I'm not turning around, I'm not turning back, not turning back, not turning back. And it was a good reminder. So once you do make that decision, burning the boats, when the Spanish landed in Mexico is just a good analogy for me. Right or wrong, whether that was a good situation for what happened there. But hey, I wanted to ask you, so I know we're running up on time for you, and I want to be sensitive to that, but tell me a time when a customer would have considered, I want to know, this is a question where I want the customer to be the hero. Okay. When was a time when the customer was a hero in your eyes, and in a work situation or life situation? When was a customer a hero, and why were they the hero in the story?
I guess that's a that's a good question. I would have to go with my current venture. There have been a few instances. I could isolate a specific, Native American tribe. They work in a really, distressful environment, and they're in an environment where, HUD, the federal government, provides them a bunch of subsidies. And a lot of times the tribes are forced to choose between, some cultural and community pressures with distressed families and following HUD regulations. And when they're put in that situation of people either breaking the law, people using their housing for things they shouldn't be, where I've seen customers really be a hero is try to save that person from jail or death, and also balance their obligations to HUD laws. And it's tricky and it's difficult and way beyond my pay grade. But I've seen our clients use our systems to take stressful housing situations. It might be a mother who's experienced domestic violence. Dad left the house, got thrown out of the house, died, ended up in jail, whatever. They were removed from the situation. She's financially destitute. She's got 2 kids to feed, and she's got very little skills. And I've seen the housing department take that person as a specific case, ensure their success, put them on payment plans, don't evict them, keep them in housing. And I've seen them come through the back end of that.
Wow.
While at the same time, you've got a federal agency that comes in and audits you and says, you can't do this based on Section 8, Paragraph 4 of this housing code. You broke the rules. And so in those instances, I see that, they're my hero. They're social workers and CPAs and project managers. And it's kind of fun to see. And I just love working with people like that can get creative to keep the end goal in mind of providing safe and affordable shelter, which I think is lost in a lot of urban America with the HUD agencies and public housing authorities. So I think if some of that could filter into urban America, it'd be a better place.
That's awesome. Well, you're doing a great job. Last question. What do you want on your resume in the next 2 years?
That's a pretty short time frame. I would like to take this, and what I'm doing is bigger than me, Kevin. I've got let's call it a 40 to 50 person company. I'm going to take this to the level where the technology proves the business case. And then in the next 2 years, I'd like to partner with an entity that has much more resources than me that can really make a significant impact in U.S. affordable housing. I would like that to be on my resume, along with the just amazing team. I've got a highly functional software team that I've never seen before. And I mean, that would be showcased on my resume. As well as bragging about my wife and my current family situation and how I've turned that around, is a real highlight on my personal resume.
That's awesome, man. And that's where it's got to start. I just ran over here, dropped my daughter off from school before our little talk. And tell me, how do you say the name of your company?
It's Kanso Software.
That's awesome. Well, Kanso Software is doing some great things, and I'm excited to continue to hear more of it. I know you have a meeting, so I'll be sensitive to that time. So really appreciate you jumping on. It means a lot to me. There were some really big nuggets. I'm going to be going back over this, and then we'll be, getting this out. I want to say thank you, though. I really, really appreciate it. Any last words or anything else you want to share?
Yeah, just thank you, Kevin. I appreciate all you do and your kindness, and it's an honor to spend time with you.
Sounds good, man. Well, we'll see you soon. Hopefully get down here to Arizona, maybe get the warmer weather soon. All right.
Yeah. All right, man.
Take care. Have a good one. Bye.
Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye.
And there you have it, folks. Another enlightening episode of the No Excuse Pro podcast is in the books. A heartfelt thank you to today's guests for sharing their wisdom, and to you, our valued listeners, for spending your time with us. If you're ready to ditch the excuses and level up, make sure to subscribe and find all our episodes at noexcusepropodcast.com. Don't forget, the only thing standing between you and your goals is the story you tell yourself. So no excuses accepted here. Take action and